Being an island here in the UK, we are surrounded by coastline and therefore have a huge amount of history and heritage in water safety and rescues afloat. In fact, it can be tracked right back to the early 1800s and to just one man, a man called Henry Trengrouse. His name is not very familiar to many people, but it is a name that I grew up with, and his story has never been told. Back in 2018, we created our Red Rescue Lifesaving division. In partnership with the RNLI, we brought our cutting-edge inflatable board technology to the life-saving world. My name is George Trengrouse. I'm Commercial Director here at Red, and today I'm meeting up with James from Red Rescue to head on down to my family home to find out more about Henry Trengrouse. So, Dad, this picture, it's been on the wall in our house for pretty much my entire life. And to be honest, I never really got it, never really understood it until I was looking around for a name for my son Arthur. And actually that's when this story came out. So how does this picture link us to Henry Trengrouse?
Yeah, well, it's a pretty central story in our family history. Central to this story is Henry Trengrouse, who was your 5 times great-grandfather. And when we were looking for a middle name for you, my granny said to me, "You need to check out this guy Henry because he was a real legend." And so we did check him out, and he's an extraordinary guy. He grew up near Helston, and he witnessed this shipwreck that you see in the picture. And Henry, as a local, he was stood on the coast path with a whole bunch of other people, watching this disaster unfold. And over 100 people died that night, and he made it his kind of life's work to develop ways of saving people's lives, when they were shipwrecked. And he spent £300,000 or £400,000 of his own money, but in today's terms, trying to get his ideas adopted. He used his natural inventiveness to go to work basically and come up with equipment, including a rocket apparatus, which is housed in a beautiful pine chest, which was just one of the many things he came up with. The Museum of Cornish Life in Helston have got a fantastic display.
Sounds like we better get on down to Cornwall.
Yeah, let's go.
So this is it, I'm guessing.
Yeah, this is it. This is one of the original Trengrouse rockets. So it's not about saving people that are a long way from land, it's about saving people that are incredibly close to land but you just can't get to them. So people would be on the shore. And in some places around Cornwall they also had boxes on land. So they would have these bigger rockets that could also go the other way if needed.
And then when it got to the land,
then they would set up a pulley system. So if you look up above you, you will see this line that's going all the way across. They would set up a chair and it would pulley across. And also, we have a very early flotation device, because not only did he invent the rocket, he also invented this flotation
Invented
device.
the first life jackets?
Yeah, one of the very first life jackets, yes. Yeah. It would have worked, and it would have saved lives. So this is a painting which actually shows the apparatus being used. Everybody was saved because of Trengrouse's invention.
how do we know actually how his life played out and actually what came to pass in those times?
We're very lucky in that we have some writing from him.
So this is it. This is the journals that we've just been talking about with Isabel.
Yeah, so it's a kind of collection of essays, basically. So he used them to describe his inventions, and they were quite possibly used to petition Parliament.
I have become possessed with the idea of devising means for the preservation of life in cases of general shipwreck, from which period I have made the great object the principle of my pursuits. You just get a full understanding of how far ahead of his time he was, how much of a problem solver he was, and how much he just wanted to make that difference and save those lives.
I mean, he didn't get much recognition, but his ideas were adopted, and indeed they're still in use today. So he died not quite penniless, but very poor, and he did at least see his ideas being put to use.
It's amazing to be stood on the same stretch of coast that my 5 times great-grandfather, Henry Trengrouse, would have been stood on. And if it wasn't for his innovation and his dedication, the life-saving world would look very different to what it does today. 250 years on, and drowning remains the 3rd biggest cause of unintentional death across the world. At Red Rescue, we are following in his footsteps to introduce new innovations, designs and technologies to allow lifesavers across the world to perform under pressure. It fills me with pride carrying on his great work and continuing his name.